There's Nishan there.
Hey Nishan, see yourself there? Okay, so I'll just get that into the recording frame. So this is what last year's and some of the other previous years' registrars said. And the key words here are preparation. And here's some other words of wisdom from your colleagues. And what we're going to do is particularly structure how to structure exam questions, as opposed to a textbook dump, which is not what we want. This is what previous participants thought was most useful. Unfortunately, this year, we're not providing lunch. Do-it-yourself lunch. So the quality of the lunch is up to you. But notice here, we are doing a lot of group learning and sharing. This is part of the way that we do our training. It's not one-to-one, it's one-to-many and peer-to-peer. And you'll see that is how we build in how we teach this course. So this is what you will expect, and actually it's kind of fun. Not only do you have a cognitive benefit, but there is a social and emotional benefit as well to group learning and peer learning. And a lot of people have uncomfortable feelings about learning from their peers, but the literature tells us otherwise. There are many good reasons for learning from your peers, as long as your peers are adequately prepared. So you don't want to let down your colleagues. And here are 12 good reasons for peer teaching as published in the literature. It gives you another perspective on your learning. And there are, as you can see, many reasons. So that's the end of my brief intro to what other people said and some of the ideas. So I'll hand it over to Diane for continuation of the idea of peer and group learning.
Okay, so one of the things we want to emphasize on this course is effective learning. And one way of doing effective learning is peer learning. Another way of effective learning is thinking about how to most effectively prepare to actually write the answers down. And the key thing to that is about essentially practicing as you would do it. So we would call this retrieval practice. So it's very important, as well, who was it? It said, Cam said, you can read the textbook, right, but then you can't answer the question. So we call this retrieval practice, where you read the textbook, cover it up, answer the question, and then learn what you've missed out. And importantly, then what you do 4 days later is you challenge yourself to write the question again. So you get a spaced repetition. All right, so retrieval practice, where you don't just read it, you actually try and drag it out of your brain onto the paper, and then spacing that out. So the reason is that we, of course, forget in a forgetting curve. But if we space it out, we kind of top up our forgetting, so it stays in our memory. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be asking you to do some stuff, and then we're going to be revisiting it a bit so that you can drag it out again and you'll remember it much better. Okay.
And you'll notice that's also partly how we have structured the Kuracloud lessons, because that is, it's kind of like show one, you do it, you do another one.
Okay, so should we go to Kuracloud now and make sure that everyone understands the technical features?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so I'm going to open Kuracloud, and then I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, it says Kuracloud up here.
So this is the Kuracloud. It says LT because they've recently changed its name. And in this, you will notice that we've designed several what we call lessons. Okay, so each one of these is a lesson. And to get into the lesson, you click on it. Comes up with an intro page where you see our smiling faces and some textbook recommendations. And then on page 2, you get our learning scheme for how to learn slides. Okay, so there's 3 steps to it. The first is to watch the video of Amanda or I explaining the slide. Okay, and you can click it here and watch, or you can watch it on YouTube, whatever is more convenient for you. Then what you do is you go to this labeled slide and revise the features for step 2. So here we've got this retinoblastoma, and say we want to look here. We click there, it says what it is, vitreous seeding, but then also this little magnifying glass comes up and we come to a blown up picture. Okay, and then we get explanations of what's happening. So then you revise those features. This is the back button to go to the low power. Then step 3 is where you explore the slide on your own. So you can click here on the picture and go to the actual virtual slide. There it is, and you can navigate to find the features. So you can move the slide, you can zoom up on it. This one from Leeds here has various controls down there, but we want you to be able to carefully observe all the features yourself by moving it around. And then we want you to answer the questions that will be in the exam. So the exam slide questions always have these things. Now it's easy for you to skip over answering the questions, but what I'd like you to do is actually answer all the questions for this slide, because it's the retrieval of what you've seen that will in fact make it stick. So to do that, you might want to make notes as you move around the slide so you can type them in. Once you have finished the answers, oh, I can't spell, but never mind. You can check answer here and you will get our model answer that you can mark yourself against for 6 points. Okay, and then there's often a link to some more information. So that's how to use the features on the first page of the Kuracloud. Because we want to reinforce your ability to do it on your own, you then go next to slide 2, okay, where you link to slide 2 and you do it by yourself, okay? So you look for all the features and then you come back, you write in here, you again can check answer to get a model answer, and then there's a hotspot picture here which tells you all the things that you should have observed when you went around the slide. So this is how we've structured Kuracloud. There's a last page here, which when you've done it, you press commit and you can, actually the commit button might not be working, but yeah, it gives you these, give you your answers here. Okay, so that's Kuracloud. Are there any questions about Kuracloud? I will stop sharing.
Who's been in to try it so far? Mark, anyone else?
Looked at it, haven't tried it.
Well, it's not too scary. So you can see the idea is see one, you do another similar one. And the whole point is you practice writing it yourself. If you just say it to yourself in your head, it's not the same as retrieving it and actually writing it down.
It's really important to do the writing down. So moving now to the classroom, sorry, I've just been doing my thing there. You will have noticed that there's lots of things posted in the introduction, but one thing I'm going to do now, because a couple of people have said it, is down the bottom here, we have, I'm going to publish these for the slide exam. Useful phrases when examining a globe.
Diane, do you want to share a screen?
Sorry, that is, that's what I should be doing, isn't it? Sharing the screen. Okay, sorry. Right, I'm just trying to go back to Zoom, share screen. All right, so here we are on the Google Classroom, which has got lots of things in the introductory part. But if you're doing the Kuracloud, what you might like to do is nip down here to the slide exam. We've got useful phrases when examining a globe. And we've also got this one here that I will just make live, which is what to look for in each part of the globe to make a diagnosis. So those are a couple of practical guides to start you off.
You want to open one up just so that we can see inside?
Yeah, so here's useful phrases when examining a globe. It's a Word document. I'm going to cover these instructions when I do my wee talk in a minute on how to examine a globe. But these are kind of copy and paste kind of things that you might say. The corneal epithelium is, Bowman's membrane is, the corneal stroma shows. Okay, so these are standard phrases that I use in histopathology reports as I go through reporting a globe, and that you will find useful in describing globes.
See how it's a nice, it's anatomically arranged order.
Yes. And then in this one here, it's kind of similar but different. And so the difference is it talks about what's normally there, and these are the things that you should be able to recognize in it. So the cornea might have keratinization, ulceration, thinning or thickening of the stroma, scarring, and neovascularization. So this document goes through all the parts of the eye, showing what's normal and what are the typical changes that you see pathologically in each bit. So you'll find that really quite useful when looking at the Kuracloud slides. Okay, do you want to talk a bit more about this classroom, Amanda? I'll get out of my, or should I carry on?
Keep going, keep going.
All right. You're going to be given some assignments to do, and we're going to ask you to post them into these topics here. The way you post things is you create, press material, you upload your material, add a title, and then press post in a topic.
So it's easiest if you put the material we found into a Google Drive, because this is a Google Classroom and it links. And I notice most of you have a Gmail address already, so you probably already have a Google Drive. That's the easiest way because it talks to each other.
So you'll be able to put things in the class drive folder.
We don't currently have the create button. Is that going to be enabled?
Oh, you can't create, can you?
Not currently on my
You can
one.
only post things to the stream. You can definitely post things. Have any of you guys used this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as a student? I know, like, my kids use it all the time because they're young, but we're older.
This is designed for primary school children, so it's not that hard.
we think you'll be able to manage to post things. We can always sort them into categories.
Yeah.
So these are the main two tools that we're going to use to share material.
Okay. Technical run through. Anything, do we need to talk about, any Zoom stuff? Does anybody have any Zoom questions regarding using or otherwise regarding Zoom? I'm sure we've all been Zooming for months now. Everybody looks and sounds fine. Sometimes we find there's difficulties with audio, and we would certainly recommend, like Diane is wearing a headset and I'm using a Polycom microphone thing here for good audio. Also, we like to see your face. So some of you have got lighting from windows behind you and you're looking a bit like a shadow, like Juliana and Nishan. It's a bit hard to see your face. So if you put your computer so that you're looking at the window so that the light's coming towards your face, and that helps us look at you in the eye. It's more friendly rather than looking at the dark shadow in a bat cave. Juliana, yes.
Yes, great, yay, thank you. Yay.
Yes, and you know, makes your skin tone looks good too. So. All right, so that's Zoom things. I can talk about reference resources. How about that?
Okay, yep.
Yes, let's talk about that. So who is using, let's just activate, be a bit more activated. Can you open up your chat box there and type in what textbook are you using? Textbooks are you using for pathology, that is. Okay, and then everybody can see everything. So 3 eagles, AAO, say who, Eagle, Janif, yes, we know all of these. We know Lee, AAO. This is all good. Now, you can just indicate in front of your webcam, who is using the e-textbook of Eagle? And who is using the, you know, the physical textbook, analog textbook? So sort of half and half. We don't mind what you use, but I'm glad to see that you have access to these things. When we're looking at the virtual slides in the pair programming, which we will come to later, we've often found it faster if you either have a physical textbook, which is not on your screen, because you're looking at the slide on your screen, right? The screen is occupied with the slide and you need something else to look at your reference or textbook. So either a physical textbook or a separate device, your iPad or a tablet or something, to have your e-book on. So you've got 2 screens going at once. We would recommend that, because if you split up your screen, it's just all too hard. So there's that.
If you haven't got a textbook and you are going to buy one, I recommend AAO.
And
does everyone know what I mean? The AAO
I will share
pathology
screen.
book. Okay, so you're going to share screen? What, the AAO pathology? That's the one. So yeah. So in New Zealand, you still get given a physical copy by Allergan or something?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Oh, that's sad. So it's not too expensive. It's $125 to get the e-textbook. You go to the American Academy of Ophthalmology website and you buy this here.
Yeah.
So it's book 4 in their publication series.
Ophthalmic pathology, we like it a lot. And to get one from the physical library or or your university library, we like Eagle as well. It's well organised, and we will have in our Kuracloud lesson, you'll notice that we give page number references to the entities that we're discussing, either from AAO or from Eagle or from both. So
the Eagle textbook you can usually get if you belong to a university by going to the university library, the e-library that they have, and they will be able to download it. Otherwise, if you don't have access to that, the fastest and cheapest way is to buy the AAO textbook online. Yeah.
So this is, I'm looking at this via Ovid. So if you're in one of the DHBs, you go through the DHB library links, and the library, your DHB will subscribe to a library somewhere, and you should be able to get it that way, the e-textbook. So if we're going to look at something here, here we have, it's the e-textbook version of Eagle.
Yeah.
So accessibility to resources, we're just showing you where they are. There should be no problem with these.
Are there any questions about the recommended books?
Or do you have any tips to share with each other? This would be good. So any other really good thing that you like that you want to share with your colleagues, because this is what it's all about. It's just a sharing session.
The AAO books we've got are from like 2011 or 12 or something. Are they still pretty relevant?
They'll be really relevant for the histopathology. The pathogenesis will have changed a bit from that for some things. So, for example, the genomics and things have all been updated.
Genetic stuff, there might be new.
If you go to the AAOI wiki for the text, then the pictures will still be fine in the old AAO book. Do you know about the iWiki?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we use it all the time,
Yeah.
as you can tell. So it's kind of good for the, you know, the clinical and whatnot features. It can be a bit limited with the description of the pathology. So that's why we've suggested some additional pathology texts for you, because it's not directed specifically for pathology. So those are online resources, and we've recommended a few other basic pathology resources. One of them is Libra Pathology, and here's one that I've made recently. And it specifically narrows in on the pathology with not too many complex words. So here's pleomorphic adenoma. What do you need to know? Kind of this bit here, simple. And that's available online for anybody. So,
Okay.
yep.
What I'm going to do now is just stop recording and then start another record for the next half an hour, because it's good to break it up into half-hour things. So I'll stop recording there.
So Diane, that Kura thing,
Oh yeah.
how do we log into that? And I haven't accessed that yet.
Okay, I'll just stop